Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning to the LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful Palmetto State, and today's date is Wednesday, October 21st, 2020. So let us begin. Good day, my friend. Hopefully everyone's doing well out there. Yes, I am traveling and stopped in the capital of the Palmetto State, Columbia, South Carolina. I'll be heading out again. It's going to be some fog until 10 a.m., so I'm going to chill out a little bit. Should be in Florida today, but I'm not going to rush it. It's all good. Take care of some business down there. Meet all my beautiful friends, beautiful people, family, friends, etc. Yep, and of course, everyone's still concerned about the quote-unquote Civil War. And I'm not saying it's set in stone, but you have to prepare. Things are getting so obvious. 2020, if you haven't connected the dots, then you're a lost cause. I'm not saying I'm better than everybody else, but you really got to pay attention thoroughly. Kio bono who benefits? How many of them hire guns? How many of them really give a damn about this movement? Or many of them, how many are being used? Something to look at. But yeah, it's an exciting time to be alive. It's a crazy year, but I achieved a lot and never took it for granted. Got some property, home, and all that. Gonna work on that, so it's all well and good. But yeah, so I'm gonna a little bit hot there. Just bring it down, just a tab. Yeah, right there. Awesome. All right, cool. So what's going on is the war on Google. They were getting too many battles. And yesterday, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit, antitrust lawsuit against them. And I'm going to be reading about it, do a couple of things on them, and going to do a viewpoint from Dr. Walter Williams on professor's exhibition, which is very poor, immature, and so forth. All right, so what I'm gonna be doing here, and I got a lot. I got to bring the mic back away from me. It's getting a little bit hot there. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do is mainly read on this lawsuit. Came out yesterday. Justice Department sues Monopolist Google for violating antitrust laws. This came out on October 20th. Today, the Department of Justice, along with 11 state attorney generals, filed a civil antitrust lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia to stop Google from unlawfully maintaining monopolies through anti-competitive and exclusionary practices in the search advertising markets, and to remedy the competitive harms. The participating states' Attorney General offices represent Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, South Carolina, and Texas. Today, tens of millions of Americans rely on the internet and online platforms for their daily lives. Competition in this industry is vitally important, which is why today's challenge against Google, the gatekeeper of the internet, for violating antitrust laws is a monumental case for both Department of Justice and for the American people, said Attorney General William Barr. Since my confirmation, I have prioritized the department's review on online market-leading platforms to ensure that our technology industries remain competitive. This lawsuit strikes at the heart of Google's grip over the internet for millions of American consumers, advertising small businesses, and entrepreneurs beholding to an unlawful monopolist. As with this historic antitrust actions against AT&T in 1974, Microsoft in 1998, the department is again enforcing the Sherman Act to restore the role of competition and the open door to the next wave of innovation, this time in vital digital markets, said Deputy General Jeffrey A. Rosen. As one of the wealthiest companies on the planet with a market value of $1 trillion, Google is a monopoly gatekeeper of the internet for billions of users and countless advertisers worldwide. For years, Google has accounted for almost 98% of all search queries in the United States and has used any competitive tactics to maintain and extend its monopolies to search and search advertising. Very interesting about the search engine. I mainly rely on DuckDuckGo and other, and Start Page is okay too. There's a few. I hit those alternative search engines. I recommend everyone just start using this. Good grief. So, and as it says here, as the alleged in the complaint, Google has entered into a series of exclusionary agreements that collectively lock up the primary avenues through which users access search engines and thus the internet by requiring that Google be set as a preset default general search engine on billions of mobile devices and computers worldwide, and in many cases prohibiting pre-installation of a competitor. In particular, the complaint alleged that Google has unlawfully maintained monopolies in search and search advertising by entering the exclusivity agreement that forbid pre-installation on any competing search service, entering into trying and other agreements that force pre-installation of the search applications in prime locations on mobile devices and make them undeletable, regardless of consumer preference, entering into the long-term agreements at Apple that require Google to be a default and de facto exclusive general search engine on Apple's popular Safari browser and other Apple search tools, generally using monopoly profits to buy preferential treatment for its search engine on devices, web browsers, and other search access points, creating a continuous and self-enforcing cycle of monopolization. These and other anti-competitive practices harm competition and consumers, reducing the ability of innovative new companies to develop, compete, and discipline Google's behavior. The antitrust laws protect our free market economy and forbid monopolists from engaging in anti-competitive practices. They also empower the Department of Justice to bring cases like this one to remedy violations and restore competition, as it has done over a century in notable cases involving monopolists over other critical industries undergirding the American economy, like Standard Oil and the AT&T telephone monopoly. Decades ago, the Department case against Microsoft recognized that antitrust laws forbid any competitive agreements by high technology monopolists to require pre-installed default status to shut off distribution channels to rival and to make software undeletable. The complaint alleges that Google is using similar agreements itself to maintain and extend its own dominance. The complaint alleges that Google's anti-competitive practices have had harmful effects on competition and consumers. Google has foreclosed any meaningful search competitor from gaining viable distribution and scale, eliminating competition for a majority of search queries in the United States by restricting competition in search. Google's conduct has harmed consumers by reducing quality of search, including on dimensions such as privacy, data protection, and use of consumer data, lessening choice in search and impeding innovation. By suppressing competition in advertising, Google has the power to charge advertisers more than it could in a competitive market and reduce the quality of the services it provides them. Through filing the lawsuit, the department seeks to stop Google's anti-competitive conduct and restore competition for American consumers, advertisers, and all companies now reliant on the internet economy. Google is a limited liability company organized and existing under the laws of the state of Delaware and is headquartered in the Mountain View, California. Google is owned by Alphabet Inc., a publicly traded, incorporated, and existing under the laws of the state of Delaware and headquartered in Mountain View, California. Okay, so that's interesting there. Well. When you can look at this yourself. It's like 64 pages long. It tells you all the states that's supporting it, and of course, it's the Sherman Act under Section 2, which is U.S. Code Section 2, to restrain Google LLC from lawfully maintaining monopolies in the market for general search services, such search advertising, search, all that good stuff. So exclusionary practices, and so it's been a cluster. So yeah, so definitely can look at these things. And one thing is I could tell folks for sure, it's blowback, is a potential blowback in his face with Google, because with YouTube, they've been censoring, demonetizing. They say you can do this, you can't do that. And what's funny about it, when you read the guidelines and you agree on it, that's a contract you have with the company. And based on what I observe, they've been breaching multiple users and subscribers, okay? You can't do that. So there's going to be a real interesting case here. We've got to see how far this goes, because they have another battle as well with Oracle, which is like about decades long. And interesting about that is it's mainly on patent law, which is Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the U.S. Constitution. It says here to promote the progress of science and useful arts by servicing for limited times and authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. So all that there is going to be very interesting. So I'm going to actually, so they have a war with that, with those battles. And a lot of folks can really do this. Go through other alternative sites, great stuff out there. Even myself, I'm going to other areas to download stuff and so forth. Don't just leave all your eggs in one basket, okay? And the truth of the matter is, folks, without us, Google is nothing, or any other company. So you can't make excuses. I've been just trimming away on the big techs and trying to hit the alternative sites and search engines and all that. And trust me, you feel a lot better. And speaking of Google, so that's one here. So I'm gonna leave that footnote on Oracle versus Google. And it was a commentary by Bob Ziedman, who came out October 9th to be exact, and about that lawsuit. So it looks like they're getting too many battles here. So I'm gonna definitely leave that for this site. And here's another one here about Google. And it says here, Google staffer says company has the ability to censor right-wing parties. So, and what says here, it is by Mimi Nguyen Lee, which came out today. It's from the Epoch Times. And as it reads here, Project Veritas, an undercover journalism nonprofit, recorded a Google staffer speaking from the ability of the big tech giant to boost or censor political views. Adreno Amaduzzi, a technical account manager at Google Marketing, was recorded saying that Google can offer free advertising credits to Democratic parties to advertise, and can censor out news from its search engine to suppress its views it doesn't want. I don't know how much you do that, he added, presumably referring to Google. Responding to a follow-up question, Amaduzzi acknowledged that Google Trust and Safety team can make decisions surrounding the matter. He did not know that he was speaking to Project Veritas, which released hidden camera recordings of his comment late Tuesday. In another segment, Amaduzzi can be heard saying that nearly 80% of videos uploaded have been blocked in total that contain hate speech. What constitutes hate speech? That's the question, right? He later said that hate speech gets reviewed by people working in Google's Trust and Safety team, and it has the potential to get involved in the 2020 election by stopping right-wing parties from advertising and reducing exposure of their ads. He did not dispute an off-camera comment that the majority of Trust and Safety is extremely left. The founder of CEO Project Veritas, James O'Keefe, said in a statement that Amaduzzi's comments are consistent with other investigations by the organization into how social media giants manipulate speech and content. Recently, we've seen censorship of free thought and stories from big tech giants. Many believe this kind of editorial suppression will affect the upcoming election, O'Keefe said. But it seems the biggest tech giant of them all, Google, may have other ways to impact the election, this time coming from their ad sales division overseas. Project Veritas also recorded Amaduzzi saying that he had ignored a request by someone from the Conservative Party in the UK from advertising to promote Brexit. Funnily enough, Brexit, I had a guy in LinkedIn I don't know why, contacted me saying, I'm the head of the digital infrastructure of the Conservative Party of the United Kingdom. We would like to do advertising with Google. Can you help me with that? He said. I didn't answer. You're telling an Italian that lives in London that you want advertising to advertise Brexit, he added. It's like, seriously, promoting the blocking of free movement of the European people. You're asking European guy to help you do that. I didn't help him. And of course, the latest report followed an earlier piece the investigative group released on Monday, which the Google Cloud Technical Program Manager Rajesh Lakar was recorded alleging that Google search is skewed by the owners and the drivers of the algorithm, and that the company is allegedly playing selective God over information Americans receive. Google did not respond to Epoch Times' request for comment. The news comes amid an antitrust lawsuit filed on Tuesday by the Department of Justice in 11 states against Google. The suit accuses Google of anti-competitive and exclusionary practices that make it unlawful monopoly in both search and advertising. Google reacted to the lawsuit, calling it deeply flawed. People use Google because they choose to, not because they're forced to or because they can't find alternatives. Ken Walker, Senior Vice President of Global Affairs for the company, said in a statement, our engineers work to offer the best search engine possible, constantly improving and fine-tuning it. We think that is why a wide cross-section of American values and often love our free products. This lawsuit would do nothing to help consumers. To the contrary, it would artificially prop up lower quality search alternatives, raise phone prices, and make it harder for people to get search services they want to use, he added. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri, a high-profile Silicon Valley critic, described the legal action the most important antitrust case in a generation. Google and its fellow big tech monopolists exercise unprecedented power over the lives of ordinary Americans, controlling everything from the news we read to security of our most professional information, Hawley said in a statement. So, of course, Matthew Vandam contributed to the report. Yeah, so, like I said, it's going to be very interesting. Censorship, control, technocracy. And I'm not surprised about this at all. It's going to be an interesting case. We'll just see the pros and cons from both sides and how far this goes. And the truth of the matter is, folks, like I said before, Google's a want, not a need. Don't let them manipulate, con you, and all that. There's plenty of other places you can go. Shop wisely. Vote on your dollar. I do have a Google Voice phone, but only when it's necessary. And I'm going to try to get find other alternatives in that one as well, so I can get rid of that. So, like I said, don't take it for granted. Always pay attention. And the war on Google continues, right? Well, that's how you got to look at it. So, I want to do one more here, even though it's pretty brief. This one here came from Dr. Williams. And this one here, Epoch Times did this one too, but it was on other sites. This one here says, disgusting professorial teachings. And it says here, why not? Just we can put it up here. The ugliness that we receive witness, including riots, billions of dollars in property destruction, assaults, murders, and grossly stupid claims about our nation has its origins on college campuses. Two websites, College Reform and College Fix, report on the despicable teachings on college campuses across the country. Let us look at some of it. In response to Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson's tweeting that he supports citizen soldiers in Kenosha, Wisconsin, Tracy McMillan Cottom, a black professor at the University of North Carolina Chapel Hill School of Information and Library Services, declared they have deputized all white people to murder us. Okay, another tyrannical scum queen, right? Jesse A. Goldberg, professor at the English department at Auburn University, who teaches classes in African American literature at composition, wrote, now deleted, post on Twitter, F every cop, every single one. Goldberg added, only ethical choice for any cop to make this point is to refuse to do their job and quit. Yep, typical John O rhetoric. He probably has a Karl Marx vibrator, right? Altar of Karl Marx. Thank you, sir, for inspiring me for being dumb, pathetic, and owned, bought, and paid for. I want to be just like you, property of the Rothschilds. I'll continue on here. Eddie Glau Jr., a Princeton University professor and chairman of the Department of African American Studies, said when it comes to policing in America, black people still live under the slave codes. Glau's tweet came in response to news that Jacob Blake was handcuffed to his hospital bed after being shot by police in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Glau had added, placing shackles around the feet of Jacob Blake to amount to a physical reminder that he's still, no matter protest, a Negro, I'll use the other derogatory word, you can figure it out, in the eyes of these policemen. So they think only one group of people are suppressed and everyone else are privileged. Yeah, tell that to the Irish slaves. Shoot, this is how disgusting these people are. I'm just wondering if he ever knows about Anthony Johnson. Probably don't even want to teach a class that. All right. New School professor Richard Wolff has called for the abolition of grades. He claimed that they're not only unfair to students, but also that they are a means of propping up capitalism, and such as academia would be better off doing away with grading entirely. He went to say grading takes up much time, and they could be better spent on teaching or otherwise directly interacting with students. Administering grades to students has little educational payoff and disrespects students as thinking people. Okay. Wichita Falls. Station KFDX-TV reported that Midwestern State University far-left philosophy professor Nathan Junn wrote on Facebook, I want an entire world to burn until his last cop is strangled with the intensity of the last of capitalists who strangled in turn with the intestines of the last politician. Vanderbilt University scientist Heather Caslin Finley says that white supremacy, racism, and prejudice are perpetuated by the concept of academic freedom, she added. I hope there are a lot of circles in the academia having a serious conversation on how academic freedom upholds white supremacy, racism, and prejudice. Finley also addressed that violent riots, writing that she was initially opposed to the 2015 Baltimore riots and was worried for police officers but changed her mind. She said, I was scared for the fires, for the rioting, for the storefronts that would not need to be rebuilt. That was my protest differently. All lives matter, blue lives matter moment. I was wrong. I was called out. Another Aunt Jemima. So you got all these clowns here. All these pathetic people, Marxist pigs, herd conformists, walking antimatter, trying to tell people how we should live. We shouldn't have achievements, but have only handouts. Forget about that, folks. These people are nothing more than scumbags that don't give a damn about you. They have that Jim Jones fetish. I will proceed. In the wake of the financial problems, many colleges are crying broke and want government bailouts, but they have money to hire costly diversity people. For example, University of Pennsylvania pays its chief diversity more than $580,000 a year. Woo. University of Michigan pays to vice provost for equity and inclusion and chief diversity officer $385,000 per year. Other universities around the country pay their chief diversity officers annual salaries of $200,000 and up. Oh, there you go. Many universities do not buy into gross academic deception that has become part and parcel of today's college education today. They are too busy with their own research to get involved with campus politics rather than being on the committees that run the university. They concede the turf to those who are willing to take the time. often those who are willing to take the time are not necessarily the most talented people, but people with a political agenda that change what has been a traditional college education, but it's not lost. But all is not lost. Taxpayers, parents, and donors who foot the bill can have a significant impact if they would stop being lazy and find out what's going on at our colleges. And if they don't like it, what they see, they can snap their pocketbook shut. He is absolutely correct. These people don't even know it's been contaminated for a long time. And the truth of the matter is, all these colleges and universities, a great amount of them, they're trying to teach their kids how to be dumb, stagnant, and happy. Don't fall for it. We got technology right at our fingertips. We don't need them. College campuses, public college campuses, you guys got the power to clean that up too. You can even write to your legislative and governor on this matter. It's got to go by your state constitution. Not that hard at all. Like I said, they need us more we need them. We got a lot of these little pretentious hacks out there. Bobbleheads. Her conformist factioneers, whatever you want to call them. Get them where it hurts. You know what? They don't want to be crying their banshee the most and blame it on everybody else. On one particular group. Like I said before, collective witch hunting for cowards and wussies. That's it. Plain and simple. I'm not going to be ranting this forever. But that's my intake. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to send something that's interesting, want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. Furthermore, I will leave the footnotes on this episode on my Spreaker page. If you want to email me, you can hit me at lokiluck3@gmail.com. But, I prefer Proton Mail. I got one here. It goes lokiluck number 03@protonmail.com. And if you want to do a donation, you can hit me at paypal.me/lokiluck3. I'll be looking at other places. I'm going to do some reviving Patreon and all that. So take the initiative. I got to do my share too, right? Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.